Hey, it's Melissa with Sincerely Creative Mom. We are going to work on just adding mesh to our pancake frame, but not in a pancake style. So a pancake wreath is meant to be kind of flat so that it would fit between your main door and storm door. This is going to eventually be a wreath that's nice and big, fluffy, very different from a pancake wreath. So I figured we would do a base together so y'all could see how I do that and what it kind of looks like and what I put into it. Now I am starting with a 14-inch pancake wreath frame. It does have 12 spots for twist ties, and I am going to use these thick pine ties just because they're a little thicker. The wire in them is a little thicker, and in the next video you'll see we're going to glue some stuff in, and this will help keep all those things in. So we are going to use those where normally I would use a pipe cleaner, but just so that you know why I'm using them, I just want it to be a little bit more sturdy because there are going to be more things kind of in this wreath. Just so you can see the inspiration and the reason why we're choosing the green and the red. This is going to be our sign, and this is going to be part of the ribbon that's in our design. Again, the full design where we're adding all the things will be in the next video. This is, but I wanted you to see what the inspiration is. Also, the sign and the ribbon are from a supply box that I get on a monthly basis. You can check out our links and all the things that we kind of mention and talk about, all our tools and all those things is at learnfrommelissa.com. Okay, so we're going to start with our 14-inch patent pending, by the way, pancake wreath frame. I am a co-inventor on this, which I'm super duper proud of. We are going to start by adding in our twist ties, and I'm just going to go, so every notch has a hole to it, and I'm going to put this, and also I'm going to go with the grain on these because it kind of is so much easier when I go with the grain. I'm going to put it in through the hole and come out towards the notch, in through the hole, out towards the notch. I am going to try to make sure that they are even, just because there's so many things that are going to go in this. I want to make sure that I have enough tie left at the end. So whereas normally for a pancake wreath, a regular pancake wreath, I wouldn't be worried about it or paying attention to it at all because we cut off so much. And in this case, I am paying attention to how much, or I'm sorry, the level of these ties. So I'm just going to go around the whole way. And then as you see, I do have 10-inch mesh and 21-inch mesh for us. I'm going to add this in all the way, making sure they are super tight. Nothing's loosey-goosey here. Everything is right on point for everything to be nice and secured in the end. So I am making sure I'm going in there nice and tight, securing it really good. So because these videos can kind of get long, especially when I'm teaching, I did do it in 2 parts, not to drive you nuts, I swear. But just because, you know, sometimes when we're creating, it goes a little bit longer. And this, some people might already know how to do this part, and they might want to skip over. So I figured I would do these in 2 parts, just so we can take our time. You know, some people are always like, oh, you're going too fast. But if you want all the details, that's, the full-length videos is definitely where it's at. So nice and tight. Also, you want to make sure that you are subscribed to us so that you can see that other video. This one will post before the other one obviously is complete. So while the other one is, while this video is uploading, if you're watching it right at the beginning, which probably not, so probably both videos will already be there for you. Okay, so nice and easy. And I'll flip it over so you can see the back. So there is 6 on the inside and 6 on the outside. One important thing, obviously, here's my hair, sorry. One important thing to notice, again, there's 6 on the outside and 6 on the inside. You do see some extra holes here, and that's just for, so as you'll see in the next video, as we add stuff and as we add the sign, as we add the bow, we might not have enough pipe cleaner to go around the whole frame and attach what we need to attach. So these are just conveniently there close to the inside of the rings in case you need to use them to attach your stuff. your sign or your bow. So this is what it looks like right now. We are going to set it aside so that we can do our 21-inch mesh. And then what we'll do with the 21-inch mesh is we'll put the on the inside. We'll cut these together because I do want to give you some tips on cutting and fraying, since I know that's a lot on your mind. And so I want to make sure I kind of touch that. This, as you can see, has just been left over. It was sitting in my 21-inch pile that I'm dwindling away over the years. I haven't bought 21-inch mesh in a long time, just because when I first started making wreaths, I bought so much of it. So I have a lot there. But what I like to do is kind of pinch that up in just any way. Pinch it up and then have a little pinch nice and tight and cut it off. So I have a nice little spot here to start with, okay? So it's not all crazy and going all the different ways. And I'm gonna just drop this, and I have a dress on, so hopefully it doesn't catch on my dress. But I'm gonna drop it at my feet, so we're just using the top of it. And I'm gonna start on the inside. So let me just move these out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. And I like to be sometimes different than everybody else. Once we're going to do the inside, and then we're going to cut it off and we're going to do the outside. So we'll do it two separate. So I'm going to put it right down in there, nice and tight. Put that mesh all the way down to the bottom. And now I have super bad carpal tunnel, so my hands are definitely weak. I feel you if you have those problems, but make sure you're going as tight as you can. Okay, nice and tight, and that's it. Once it's in there tight, you don't have to twist it too many times. And then here's what I'm going to tell you. Form a poof. We're going to call it a poof. Form a poof where those edges, because they catch on everything, go kind of underneath. Just as you grab it along, grab those edges underneath and make the poof, kind of form the poof before you attach it in there. So I'm going to go with about this high. Let's see how high that gives us. Maybe a little bit too high, so I'm going to go in there and scrunch it a little bit more. And then I'll tell you, okay, so from pinch to pinch, we're at about 11 inches. So that means after I have it formed, okay, from my pinch to the pinch is about 11 inches. That doesn't mean grab it and go 11 inches. However, on your end, when you're doing this, I want you to just feel free, feel real empowered to figure out how big you want it. I'm thinking, I'm putting in that 10-inch mesh next. So I don't want it to be too high because I don't want it to overpower and not let you see the green, obviously. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay attention to the height of this. So I'm not going to measure it every single time. I'm paying attention to the height of this, and I'm just going to go along the inside, keeping those edges that catch everything on the underneath side. And I'm just going to look and kind of eyeball it, make sure it's about the same height. And again, nice and tight. I don't have to twist it too many times. We are putting a couple other layers in this. Again, the next video will have the ribbon, the sign, the bow, and all the embellishments that we are going to put in it. So make sure you're watching that one. But this is just a really good video to keep and do this recipe if you're making a nice big wreath and you're using our pancake wreath frame. This is me telling you and showing you that it doesn't have to just be small. It can be nice and big. And as I go along, also you're seeing me, I'm kind of making sure that's kind of puffed out so that I don't have to go back after the fact and fix it, right? I don't want to have to go back after and fix it. I do want it to be in there nice and secure and kind of already doing its thing so I don't have to handle it too much after. Now, I'll also say, if you are going to handle mesh and play with it, the 21-inch is probably the best to do that with because the 10-inch is cut. And so that edge that you're cutting, if the more you play with it, the more it will fray. So here's the one thing I'm going to do. Now, I only do this on the ends. So I am going to untie this, just real careful. I'm going to untie it and put this right down in there. That's the only time I untie it, when I'm adding in that layer of mesh. Again, because we're going to end up with such a little amount of this at the end, I don't want to run out of it. And then here's where I may differ from other people. I do cut that off And that's because if I was going to go from here to here, I'd end up with like this little extra piece that I just don't need. So I keep it in my little fingers, hot little hands, and then I just go to the next one. So I'm going to go on the outside now. We're doing the exact same thing, except my poofs might be about 13 inches if I had to guess, because I do want it to be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go on the outside. Remember, we are making this big on purpose. So let me see how that works out for us. Perfect. So I'm starting to fill in that gap right here. Again, that 10-inch mesh is going to go in and really fill in. But let's just see if I was right. So that was 13. Ooh, yeah, this is, yeah, 13, between 13 and 14. Again, put it in, see how it feels for you, and see how it looks. This is, again, meant to be a bigger wreath. So I am, every time I'm forming it so that those edges are underneath. Now, as I have made wreaths for a long time, I learn that that edge that I keep talking about, kind of folding it under, it catches on the 10-inch mesh. It catches on every clothing. So I do pay attention to it and make sure it is kind of tucked under. Nice and big. I hope this is very helpful in giving you just another way to work on our 14-inch pancake wreath frame. Now, I do a lot of bigger designs inside the coaching group. So when you see some of the big items, know that they're probably on a pancake wreath, and this is one of the ways we make the frame useful for bigger items. Nice and tight. And then here's our end. So I am going to untie it, and I know it's kind of like it's a juggling act with holding this in your hand. If you had one of those little clips that you could just hold on to that, you could, or you could just let it go, honestly. Oh no, I guess I don't want to let go because I want to have it in place when I undo this and put it down in there. Again, just because I want to save that length there. And then again, I'm just going to go in. It's nice and tight and cut off. Now, because I'm using the ties and because I am nice and tight, I don't feel the need to go in there and add any glue. What we are going to do is we're going to take a pipe cleaner, and this is how I store it also. So I'm going to take this nice and tight, and I do it just like this. The good news is that even after a couple of years, and I do mean years, even after a couple years, when I pull this out to use again, and I'll show you what I do, when I pull this out to use again, it is fine, because what it ends up kind of being a little bit flat, it just goes right into a poof, and it's totally fine. But this way, if I undid this, it would be like, it would not be flat, it would not be straight anymore, because I'm kind of pulling this side a little bit more, so it kind of goes all over the place. And so this way I'm not losing any length, I'm not losing any, and I just store it just like this on my shelf, just like that. Okay, so the next piece we're going to do, so here's what we look like right now. Very weird, lots of big openings that we obviously don't want to leave like that. So this would just look very choppy. It would look, it would look unfinished, right? So we are going to add in some things, add in our 10-inch mesh. Again, that coordinates with that sign and the ribbon that we're using. This was from the supply box, and we're going to add those in right here. Now, I don't need to use a whole lot. I did use some of this to cut and prepare for another project. And so this is what I have left on this roll. And then we do need 12 pieces. So I happen to get 2 supply boxes because I always love the stuff that's going in there. And so we're going to cut this in 20 inches. And we need 12 pieces of it. So I'm going to just go ahead and kind of save time a little bit. And I'm going to line these up so that I can cut 2 at a time. Cut 2 at a time. And then that will give me, I'll cut 6, and that'll give me what I need for the design that we're doing right now. So it'll give me 12 pieces, and it should, if my calculations are correct, and if what was left on this roll was what it was supposed to be, we should use up that whole roll and not have any left on that one. Sometimes, I will say, from the factory, no fault of the supplier who you purchase it from, but sometimes those rolls are short. This is going to be short. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's going to be short unless I cut the other one long, which is possible. So I should have been able to get another 20-inch cut from that, and you can see not enough. So that's not part of the supplier. If it is a little bit short, it does, you know, obviously it comes from the factory like that, and so not a lot of control over, you know, how much is on each mesh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2 more. And then we'll be all set. Okay, so now you saw I was using a rotary cutter. I'm using a self-healing mat, and if you look really close, I've cut a lot on the 20-inch marker here. In order to keep your mesh, see how I have a decent cut there. But if you look really, really close, as soon as I ruffle it, it's going to fray. Y'all, it is a woven material. So you have pieces that are going this way, and you have pieces that are going this way. So if I want, I could pull off some of these pieces right here, and, you know, that's going to happen. Here's my suggestion to you. If you've never worked with mesh before, if you've never, if you are frustrated because you think maybe your mesh frays a little bit more than it should, here's what I suggest to you. I would like for you to practice, because here's what happens. Once you ruffle it once, and actually we're going to do it a little bit different, but once you ruffle it once, and then you're like, oh, that doesn't look good, let me redo it, right? Well, that edge is like, hey, wait a minute, you already played with me a little bit, and so now it's going to start to come apart a little bit more. What's really cool in our pancake wreath and in the design that we're going to make on this is, in the end, you might look at it when it's just the mesh and the wreath, and you're like, oh no, I could see, you know, all this mesh fraying and it looks horrible. But truly, you know, what happens, the beauty of continuing to design, you're putting your ribbon in, sometimes you're putting florals in, you're putting a sign, you're putting a bow. That really camouflages. I'm not discounting the fact that it frays, but it camouflages that fraying. You're going to do your part on working with it, putting it in, and not touching it. The more you play with it, the more you pull on it, it's going to fray more. So try not to do that. So number one, have a nice sharp rotary cutter. Apply pressure, okay? Make sure you're obviously using a self-healing mat. Apply pressure. Put it in, don't play with it. If you are using the scissors, the chances of you know, not cutting, here you have a chance of cutting more straight. Here you have a chance of more cutting on an angle. And if you see, this obviously isn't completely straight now that I have it out. And, you know, I'm not cutting directly in between the line here. So a rotary cutter is going to give you a more straight cut, which is going to cut down on the fraying. It's not going to eliminate it. But also, some people use the poly burlap mesh to make the flowers, which is really pretty. And they kind of burn or singe the edges. That doesn't make it completely stop, but for the flower tutorials, it does minimize it. Okay, so for here, so we're going to really try to eliminate the sight of any fraying. I'm just going to, and I'll do this a little bit here, I'm just going to curl it in a little here, curl it in, almost fold it, okay, just fold it. And I'm going to do it maybe once because we only cut 20 inches, and then I'm going to curl in the rest, and then, or curl the end, ruffle the center, curl the other end, and then make sure you get it all together. And then I'm going to put it in there just like that, kind of like a butterfly, side to side. It's going to go in just like that. Now with this, I'm going to start to fill in those spots. Okay, start to fill in those spots. Let me get this out of the way and we'll continue to go on. Now, the mesh, you see this is border mesh, so you see just the pretty on the border. And the inside of this, nothing to it. Okay, now the border is what you see in the 10-inch mesh when you're putting it in like this. You're not really getting to see that inner, so if there was foil going all the way through it, you wouldn't really get to see it, especially in this design. You're only seeing what's on the outside. And so the border mesh that has, we call this the value part of it, where there's no foil, there's no nothing going through it. You know, some people are real, it depends on what you're creating, but for most of your designs, this is just fine. Okay, especially with those really pretty edges, and this one has that nice pretty gold going through it. Totally and absolutely love. Again, we're just going to go on the outside, ruffling that up, ruffle, ruffle, ruffle. So I know I talk a lot about being in the coaching group and, you know, teaching in there. We have all sorts of stuff in there, all sort of coaches. We all have our specialties. And, you know, some people are like, oh, I'm not ready for creative coaching. I'm not ready for that. But really, I mean, you all see me live on my page on Facebook. You see me creating videos here for YouTube. You see all these things. But it's just like this, but on an everyday basis. You don't have to consume it all, but when you're looking for inspiration, or you're looking for answers, or you're looking for, you know, someone to help you, if you're looking for all sorts of things, the coaching group is very helpful, you know, for all different levels, for all different styles, for all different ideas. If you're looking for recipes, that's what we're there for. I am huge on, you know, creating a recipe just like this, you know, so many inches, so many inches, so many inches, so many numbers, and, you know, having folks follow us. Did I do that wrong? Do we still have that? Maybe I did cut too many. I don't know. Anyway, so now I'm going to go in the inside. You see how that's filling out nicely. Filling out nicely. So I'm going to go right in the center. Now, so you saw this one we put in kind of side to side. On this one, I'm going to put in up and down so that it starts to kind of fill in that center and fill in what's open here. Okay, because you see that loop, poof, good gravy, that needs, you know, space to fill in. So I'm going to put these in and out. So again, another very good tip on, you know, the poofs on the inside. There we go, poofs. The poofs on the inside, you know, they're closer together. So they're going to help fill in there. And we don't want to leave out this little spot here that we did, you know, open up with that poof on the outside. Hey, I'm Alyssa from Sincerely Creative Mom, and I forget my words a lot. So please be patient with me. I appreciate your kindness. Okay, right here, going in. Although what's funny is I just took a memory test, and turns out my memory is perfect, which I found very hard to believe, but it's true. Okay, right up the center, right up the center, right up the center. Curl, curl. Now again, not touching it, not fixing it, not playing with it, not nothing. Just leaving it just like that. Right down in there, nice and tight all the way. Don't let that mesh float. In other words, put it right down all the way so it touches the tie at the bottom, right? You want the mesh to touch the tie, or the tie to touch the wood. You want it all to be connected. Nothing's floating in there. Again, this is part 1 of this series. I do hope that you follow us in the rest, and so that you can see this beauty come to life. Again, we're going to be using this beautiful blue and red kind of nutcrackery theme and the sign. It's going to go so Look at that. It's going to be so pretty. So I do hope that you follow the next video. Again, you see this video was a little bit long, just working on the base. I wanted to make sure that you got a lot of tips on how to help you with those bigger bases and how to use our pancake frame in a bigger way. This is going to be beautiful. One other thing I would also say, because I know some of you are probably thinking of or asking or may have already asked. Some of you, ask if, because a lot of us have the 10-inch mesh on hand, some of you ask if instead of the 21-inch mesh, can you use the 10-inch? The answer is yes. However, the answer is yes. But remember, you're asking if you can use half the amount. So this is 21-inch. You're asking if you can use half the amount. So if you're using half the amount, you might want to consider going around twice so you have that thick feel. Or if you have, you saw how I started with 2 of these in the beginning. If you have 2 10-inch rolls, if you do those together with the poofs, it'll give you that thicker, more dense kind of look and feel. Otherwise, it's not going to be as thick as this, of course. Now, there are kind of exceptions when you're using mesh that's a little bit more full, whereas this has the cotton going through it and more jute and more foil. It might give you a fuller look. It all just depends. But if you're using this kind of value, nothing really to it. There is a thin foil going through it, but if you're using that as your poofs and you're only at 10-inch and you're only going around once, it might not look as full. But anyways, this is our base that we're going to start off with. Again, a little thicker than the pancake wreath, nice and clean on the back. So we do have those 12 ties, nice and perfect. Again, I invite you to follow us into the next video on our channel to see how we transform this and make it into something super big and super beautiful. Again, I am Melissa with Sincerely Creative Mom. I hope you're following us on all of our social media platforms. Learnfrommelissa.com is where you can find a list of so many things that can help you, including our favorite suppliers, our favorite tools, some classes that we have, links to the creative coaching, links to the supply box that we'll be talking about a lot in the next video as well. I hope you're following us along, and I can't wait to see you soon. Bye, y'all.